making this video to give you an update on situation of USDCAD. Whenever I come to the pair like USDCAD or CADJPY, I actually intend to trade Canadian dollar, and then I try to find the best counter currency to trade Canadian dollar against. So if we look at the situation on USDCAD, the situation has not turned in the favor of long position of USDCAD, despite I had suggested a lookalike double repo pattern. So if we go to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the trend has shifted to the bullish side on the 4-hour time frame, and this double repo lookalike pattern has also been completed. This is the 3x3 moving average, which I had discussed in the last video. Price closed above, closed below, closed above, but then again closed below, and this entire action was sideways. There was no upward momentum. That's why I didn't take position, and I'm staying on the sidelines in USDCAD. And I suggest you not to take any position right now in USDCAD. What else do I see on USDCAD? I see this rectangle. There is a chance that this rectangle will be broken to the downside, and USDCAD will continue falling. There are a few fundamental reasons behind gains in Canadian dollar. If you have heard about the assassination of Qasem Soleimani recently, who was some kind of Iranian leader, then you must know that there is now some global war kind of tension between Iran and the US, which is why Japanese yen has strengthened recently with very significant gain. Canadian dollar couldn't gain more than Japanese yen, despite there was a rise in crude oil. Whenever there is a rise in crude oil, it is priced in Canadian dollar, because Canadian dollar is one of the most predominant exporters of oil. So a rise in oil is a gain of Canadian dollar. So sooner or later, there is chance that this gain of crude oil will still be priced in Canadian dollar, and Canadian dollar will strengthen further. Right now, the situation is Canadian CADJPY, and right now situation is slightly different. Whenever Japanese yen gains because of any increase in global tension, the biggest gainer is Japanese yen as a safe haven currency, and Canadian dollar becomes the biggest loser, because it is treated as risk currencies. So the Japanese yen stays on number one. Second, despite the fall in USDJPY, USD still stays stronger than Canadian dollar. So you will see fall in CADJPY, fall in USDJPY, and there is some rise in USDCAD at the same time, because USD loses less than what CAD loses. This time story is different. This time US dollar has lost more than Canadian dollar has lost against Japanese yen. If you measure the distance after this assassination of Soleimani, then this is 60 pips fall in CADJPY, whereas the same incident caused a fall in USDJPY that is equal to almost like 70 pips, 69.2 pips. So we can say that the impact of crude oil is why Canadian dollar now is staying at the second position after Japanese yen, and the US dollar is at the third position in terms of relative strength among these three currencies. So now what can happen? We do not see any recent big war kind of situation from Iran. Iran did not retaliate in aggressive manner like US did. However, Iran is demanding US to remove the troops. So we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or maybe in upcoming days. But certainly Iran is not going to retaliate in very aggressive way, because US has already clamped down on Iranian exports by sanctioning some tariff, sanctioning in some tariff. So if you look at September of the last year, you will understand that the total export of Iran was almost became half because of the sanction on the tariff by the US. So the situation for Iran now is really tricky. Iran perhaps will not retaliate in an aggressive manner, and that is why there will be chance of upward retracement in USDJPY. There will be pullback in Japanese yen. This tension will cause further gains in Japanese yen, but not without retracement. So now is the time we will see some pullback in Japanese yen. So that's why instead of selling a USD CAD, rather I'll buy CADJPY. So even if we'll see that the price breaks below this rectangle, instead of selling USD CAD, we can buy CADJPY. This is the one scenario. Another scenario will be different when there will be some mixed news coming from the US and Iran. Then we should rather focus on USD CAD instead of touching Japanese yen. USD CAD can fall down if this entire Canadian dollar gain will be further combined with the losses of US dollar, and that can happen if Euro USD will start going up from this area. If you have watched the last video of Euro USD, I had suggested a sell position and hold on to sell until this 50%. Now price has come down to 61.8%, but still it can make this ABCD, like from A, B, C, and D, 1280, 1284 area. Both ABCD. This recent ABCD is targeting the same area. So if this is gonna start to the upside, this will pressurize US dollar, because Euro is the most dominant part of the US dollar index. So we'll have to compare what's going on Euro USD, whether the dollar is losing more than Japanese yen is gaining, or whether Canadian dollar is gaining more than Japanese yen as well as more than US dollar. So we can see the comparison at Euro USD, also a USDJPY. Right now you can see that the USDJPY is struggling to retrace to the upside. At the same time, CADJPY is also struggling to go to the upside. USD CAD is stuck in the range. So we'll have to wait for the confirmation. We'll have to see the breakout. When breakout will happen, we'll have to determine the breakout not on any other any other currency pair. Rather, we should stick to the major currency pair, because most of the analysts in the world are watching the major currency pair. When a breakout will be done on this major currency pair, that is USDCAD, then we have to further compare Japanese yen and USD to understand what's going on at the USDJPY. And if at that time, if you will see that the USDJPY is slightly going to the upside, retracing to the upside, then you can buy CADJPY. Otherwise, you can simply sell USDCAD, and USDCAD will further fall down to this area. Despite this three drive pattern, I don't see any reaction unless this situation will be completely clear. And this situation will not be easily clear, because there will be too many factors. Now holiday season has ended. We will get some more news from the US about the US-China trade deal progress. Then we will have some more news from from Iran, from the US, about what's happening between Iran and the US. So this will complicate the situation, and Canadian dollar is very sensitive to any kind of global tension. Last time, if you remember my analysis, I was expecting a buy from here, but a positive trade deal between US and China had caused very sharp gain in Japanese yen and sharp loss in Canadian dollar, because sharp gain in Canadian dollar as well, because the positive deal between US and China had caused sharp loss in Japanese yen as a safe haven currency, and sharp gain in Canadian dollar, because when the global tensions ease, the capacity the risk appetite increases, so people go for risk currency like Canadian dollar gain. So that is when this Canadian dollar had fallen from this point to around this point. So this is that's why we have to be very careful if we are trading Canadian dollar right now. So I had discussed this three drive pattern, like from this point to this point. First drive, then this was the second drive, this was the third drive, but this three drive doesn't seem to be working, and maybe market will stagnate. So we have to just look for the break out of this rectangle. Once breakout will happen, we'll compare what is going on USDJPY, and then we'll choose whether to sell USD CAD or to buy CADJPY. So that's all about this Canadian dollar analysis. Thank you for watching.